lot of very good things are happening with regard to the Strait, Hormuz, and a lot of good things are happening for our country. It's been very strong. We have some tremendous numbers released economically on jobs and everything else, and things are going very well.
How is the ceasefire holding, Mr. President?
Say it?
Ceasefire holding?
I would say it's holding well. Their military is destroyed. Their whole Navy is underwater. You know that. 158 ships are gone. Their Navy's gone. Most of their mine droppers are gone. We have a lot of people, as you know, at 10 o'clock tomorrow, we have a blockade going into effect. That'll be 10 o'clock tomorrow. Other nations are working so that Iran will not be able to sell oil. And that will be very effective. But what we want to do is we want to, and again, we don't need it. What we notice and what we see and what I think is maybe my idea, maybe not, I don't know. But there are many boats heading toward our country to fill up with oil and then go and take it. So they're not going to go through the Hormuz Strait. And ultimately that'll be corrected. But in the meantime, they're using us. We have more oil because of drill baby drill. We have more oil than Russia and Saudi Arabia put together. So if you look at Russia and Saudi Arabia, two big ones, we have much more oil than they have put together. And what's happening is boats are coming over here, filling up. We don't have to go through the Hormuz Strait.
Can you give us an update, Mr. President, on the two pilots? Are they in good condition? Have you spoken to them or their families?
They are in very good shape, and we're very proud of them, the two pilots, yeah.
You said that Iran, earlier you said Iran didn't want to come back to the table. What is that thought?
I think Iran is in very bad shape. I think they're very desperate. We had a meeting that lasted 21 hours. We understand the situation better than anybody, and Iran's in very bad shape. And just so you understand, Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. Will not have. There is no way that they're going to get. They still want it, and they made that clear the other night. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon.
How long are you waiting for them to come back?
Oh, I don't know. I don't care if they come back or not. If they don't come back, I'm fine. Their military is gone. Their missiles are largely depleted. The manufacturing capability for missiles and drones is largely defeated. We've been very nice. We haven't ripped down too many bridges. We did one only because they broke their word. They broke their promise. And remember, their promise was that they were going to open the Hormuz Strait. They didn't do it. They lied.
President, have other countries right now who are willing to help?
Yeah, they're coming up and they're helping. Yeah, we have many other countries.
Do you have any specific countries that will be buying the oil from the United States? Have you had any talks with specific
Well, you just have to see. But ships are heading up to our country right now, empty, and they're going to go back filled up with oil. Okay?
Why did you attack Pope Leo on Truth Social?
I don't think he's doing a very good job. He likes crime, I guess. He hit us. Think of it. He's worried about fear. What about the fear when the ministers and the priests and all of those great people that were arrested during COVID, and in many cases they're outside 10 feet apart, and they were arrested. So we don't like it. We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. So I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
So would it be okay with a third country of Iran?
About what?
Would you be okay with a third country agrees to accept Iran's related to all?
Well, that's a very theoretical question. Really, I don't want to answer that. Well, they're coming up. They're going to be coming up. But I'm very disappointed in NATO. They didn't do that. They weren't there for us. We pay trillions of dollars for NATO, and they weren't there for us. Remember what I said. NATO was not there. Now they want to come up, but there's no real threat anymore. But NATO was not there for
Are
us.
you going to punish the countries who didn't help you?
We'll see what happens. But, you know, we spend trillions of dollars on NATO to help them guard really against Russia. When you think of it, we're guarding against Russia. And I've long thought it was a little ridiculous, but we spend trillions of dollars doing it. And I think that's going to be under very serious examination. Thank you very much.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, on a Monday afternoon. Glad you guys could tune in. There's so much going on and so much disinformation or misinformation out there. And then some people will even hear what I have to say today, and they will consider that even disinformation. Here's the reason why. In case you haven't been watching the Swalwell episode and all the drama surrounded by him, around him, the midterm campaigning has begun. The average Joe trotted out Hillary Clinton today and had her on giving her opinion what happened in Hungary with Orban and everything else. Obama's been tweeting. Everybody has now commenced the midterm campaigning in the midst of basically a war. They want to use as much stuff against him and as much stuff against you as humanly possible. They are out to destroy MAGA. They are out to destroy Trump. And in certain instances, it has been working. Not the way they want, not as much as they want. But if you look at what goes on Twitter, and maybe some of the other social platforms, and then you get out there in real life, and it's a completely different story. At least that's what I'm experiencing down here. Your mileage may vary. And, you know, what he's touched down there, I want to talk about. With full disclosure, I was brought up a Catholic. I was a Catholic from the time I could walk, basically, and I went to a Catholic high school and almost went to a Catholic college. So I think I know a little bit about Catholicism. In addition, I was an altar boy. Not the best altar boy, late quite often, but I was an altar boy as well. And I went to, like I said, a Catholic high school, and I didn't find out till I was nearly 40 years old when one of the guys I went to high school with came up to me and goes, "You really don't know about Father Ivan, do you?" Father Ivan was one of the teachers at my high school. I'm like, "No, I don't know nothing about him." Well, come to find out that Father Ivan took it upon himself to diddle a few of the guys I went to high school with. In my oblivious self, I had no idea anything about it. And so that brings us to right now, the whole thing with the Pope. And as President Trump said, I don't like what he's saying. If the Pope wants to use his platform to talk about spreading love and peace and wants to quote biblical statutes, well, a lot of Catholic schools don't do it all, by the way. Robin, when she met me, she's like, "Did you guys not read the Bible?" No, we knelt a lot. We got back up. We knelt down again. We back up. We knelt down and we said a couple Hail Marys and then our Father and got the heck out of church. All in about 30, 45 minutes. Perfect. That was it. We didn't read the Bible. There were no long sermons like you get in a Baptist church. There wasn't any vacation Bible school. It was just basically ritualistic. And knowing what I know now about the Catholic Church and having visited the Vatican myself, and I saw this giant wall around the Vatican, huge wall that goes, if you've never been, you probably don't realize Vatican City into itself is its own city, and it's surrounded by about an 18-foot wall. Nobody gets into Vatican City if they don't want you to get into Vatican City. And then once you get into Vatican City, this part didn't surprise me. It surprised other people, but the vast wealth, the unbelievable wealth inside the Vatican. And that's just the stuff that you can see. So I pretty much feel about this whole dust up with the Pope is if the Pope wants to be a politician, take off the little beanie and get out the little golf cart and go run for office. You step over that line and you start getting into the political realm, yeah, you should be slapped back, especially with the hypocritical nature of the papacy. When my friends, who I found out decades later, were getting diddled by one of the priests at our high school, none of the popes ever said anything. None of the bishops said anything. None of the cardinals said anything. In fact, I asked, well, what happened to him? Well, he just got reassigned to another school in Rhode Island. Huh? That's it? How many times did it happen? Well, at last count, it was like 20. Wait a minute. 20 of the kids I went to high school, not grammar school, high school with, this guy decided he wanted to do, carnal things with. I couldn't believe it. And then when I went to the Vatican with Robin and I'm looking around and I asked one of the guides there, where's the section about the Speedo stuff? Oh, there's no section with that? No, nowhere. I can go into the archives downstairs. I can go to the library, but there's nothing here about the mass amount of Speedo activity. Where's that at? Oh, don't talk about that. So when I saw that President Trump smacked the little beanie wearing guy, metaphorically speaking, I didn't have a problem. Don't step into the ring if you don't want to get dealt with. When I saw even Jack Posobiec posted, no president has ever talked to the Pope this way. And I immediately responded, no Pope has ever talked to a president this way. When you break it down into its most elementary nugget, the Pope's a man. One man. Just like our one man. He leads a congregation, he leads a religion, he is the titular head, but he's just a guy. He poops like me. He wakes and probably snores like me when he sleeps. He's just a guy. And so it didn't bother me when I saw President Trump jousting with the Pope. And if it bothered you, the part that you have to understand is that the Democrat Party is calling in all their markers. Everything at this point will be fair game. Think I'm kidding? What happened with Melania last week? We're going to talk about that later. Now you get the Pope. Did you know that David Axelrod last week went to the Vatican to meet with the Pope? David Axelrod, Obama's hatchet man. Did you know that? Did you know that 2 days after David Axelrod went to the Vatican to meet with the Pope started making statements about Iran? By the way, feel free to put into the chat any tweet or anything from the Vatican talking about the 40,000 people that Iran killed recently. I'll wait. You see, because I recognize what we're looking at here. We are looking at a midterm campaign kickoff that is going to be absolutely brutal, and people are going to attack you from all sides. We're heading towards an election of our lifetime. I know people have said that before, but it ain't been like this. They're openly saying if they get back in charge, we're going to take Trump apart. We're going to take his family apart. Anybody who touched Trump, we're going to take him apart. We're going to destroy MAGA. We're going to do everything to you. And people aren't realizing it. They don't understand. And so today, President Trump, as I showed in my show last night at 10 a.m. this morning, shut down the Strait of Hormuz. But interestingly, I got something wrong. I got something wrong when I talked about the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, because I thought for sure the markets were going to go completely haywire. I thought the markets were going to turn into an absolute quagmire and things were going to go nuts. So imagine my surprise when I see all the indices are green. We have a little over an hour before the market shut down and everything is up. And I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? What is going on? Well, money loves money. I didn't say the love of money. I said money loves money. Money makes money. And people are seeing, wait a minute, so we don't need the oil here? Nope. Oh, maybe he's right. Maybe. Or maybe a lot of people jumped in and took some profit today after seeing what was happening over the last couple of days. We'll see as things play out, especially if President Trump is able to secure the Strait of Hormuz, and if indeed boats have turned and are coming here to America to pick up their oil. Because people may not have believed it, and then they probably woke up this morning and they confirmed by looking at the marine traffic website is, oh, they're turning around? Yep, just like he said. Just like he said. He told you they were coming here. I don't think people believed it. And thus far, it has begun. As of right now, this was recently, 34 ships, this was at 12:33. 34 ships went through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, which is by far the highest number since this foolish closure began. That was the last vestiges of what they could do. They weren't going to be able to do anything else. He also posted this. Iran's Navy, as you have heard, is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated, 158 ships. What we have not hit are their small number of what they call fast attack ships, because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of these go fast boats are anywhere close to the blockade, you're never going to see anything close to these aircraft carriers. They will be immediately eliminated. That means blown to bits, using the same system of kill that we used against the drug dealer boats at sea. It is quick and brutal. P.S. 98% of drugs come into the United States by ocean have stopped. That's an interesting statistic. 98% of the drugs that have been coming in by boat to the United States, they're not coming anymore. Anybody talking about that in the media? No. The border shut down. Kaputski. Anybody talking about that? No. And what we do have people talking about, idiots who are trying to sway you, is that gas prices are up. Just like a few months ago, they were trying to tell you egg prices are up. And they've got people in a frenzy talking about oil prices and gas prices. Well, at least it's not winter time, so we're not going to have a lot of people having to buy heating oil. But as we're moving into the spring and summer, people are going to be traveling, and the gas prices are high. Oh my God, gas is so high. And I just want to show you something that popped up in my thread. And it's problematic because I get this kind of crap a lot from trolls who want to engage, just so I might talk to them. And this idiot says, because I had written the propaganda of a few cents when it's $1.30 per gallon more, the gaslighting here is amazing. And what I had said that he responded to is what I'm going to get into in the next segment. Why aren't people jumping for joy over this instead of whining about a few extra cents on gas? How about a thank you to the president? Nope. Nope, can't do that. You see, it's a propaganda of a few cents when it's $1.30 a gallon more. And that's when I laid the trap. And that's the trap I want to share with you, because my response to this idiot, I'm so sick of people complaining about this or that instead of doing something about it. Why are you complaining about the gas prices being a little bit higher? And indeed, it is a little bit higher. Do something about it. This dude below, number one, I don't know where you live, but that's not even close to reality where I live. Number two, to some of us prospering in a Trump economy, it is indeed a few cents more. And that's where people get lost. Number three, if you're not prospering, you're doing something wrong. You see, they're waiting for President Trump to do something for them. You know, the old way of the liberals think, and I guess this guy considers himself a conservative, but he's full of shit. Because President Trump, as the president, and I've said it since day one, it's not a cult thing. I've said it to you guys so many times, it's probably just old news. I don't need the president to do anything for me. I don't need the president to lower gas prices. I don't need the president to lower housing prices. I don't need the president to lower, oil prices. I need the president to give us opportunity and then get the hell out of the way, and I'll take care of the rest. So when I say to people, and I say things like, what are you doing about it? It's easy to go ahead and put out a few tweets. It's very easy to complain on Facebook. But what are you doing about the pricing being a little bit more than you obviously can afford? Never mind the fact I'm not even going to go in regards to what Biden was doing. What are you personally doing if you know the price of gas, as President Trump said last night, could raise going into the midterms because of all this turmoil? Are you going to buy into what the Democrats are saying? Or are you going to look, as I've been telling you, to where the puck is going and then make some moves accordingly? If you know, and he's given you a hint, gas prices could still go up between now and November. Well, checking the watch, it is 3:32 on April 13th. That's telling me we got 7 months and we're not sure what this is going to do. But the only thing that we are sure of is our own efforts to make things different. Do you want to wake up in May and go, oh man, it's up $1.50? Or July, well, I can't go to Disney World because, it's up $1.90? Or are you going to be a type of person that says, you know what? I'm going to fix this for myself. President Trump has opened the doors of prosperity. He has shown I can do things, and get away from the liberal ideology of do something to the real true MAGA ideology of I'm going to make something happen myself. That is a turnabout of opinion and perspective that too many people unfortunately lack. Do it yourself. It's wide open. There's nothing preventing you from obtaining prosperity, to understanding and projecting where you want to go with your finances. I talk about prosperity a lot here because I'm actually doing it myself. Many of you know we bought an investment property. We closed on it. We had a great time. Rob and I took some time off. We sat back and go, okay, what do we do next? And I told her, I said, you know what? I'm probably going to drop down to 1 show per day, starting probably this week. If there's a press conference or something, I'll probably, of course, I'll cover that. But for the most part, I'm going to go to a 1 show per day schedule, barring something happening. And then you may say to yourself, well, Barry, why would you do that? Because I have the opportunity, because of what President Trump has done and what he's going to be doing, to make a boatload of money in real estate. Again, I'm looking at that puck and I'm saying, where is this puck going? Oh, we know that Jerome Powell is going to be out of office relatively soon, probably within 30 to 60 days. What is going to happen after Jerome Powell is booted? The interest rates are going to drop. That's the plan I'm looking at, and I don't need him to give me anything. Yeah, drop the interest rates and make sure any regulations are, you don't have to worry about burdensome regulations, and I'm going to be more than fine. Looking at, yeah, as I always tell you guys, look at trend lines and understand where things are going. Down here, you guys know I buy real estate, and I posted this earlier, like 3 or 4 hours ago. And a news item came out that said, breaking, U.S. housing market, home sellers now outnumber buyers by 630,000, largest gap ever recorded. And I wrote, as you can see, real ones know what this means. Do you know what that means? Or do you need President Trump to tell you what it means? Do you know what it means? Or that you think somebody should give you a house? What does that mean? What does it mean that home sellers now outnumber buyers? Well, if you look at it from a clear economic perspective, if there are more people selling than there are buying, you got to lower your price. You got to bring down your price to meet the demand. There's not enough demand for everybody that wants to sell. So that means a guy like me who walks in and goes, hey, it's been sitting on the market for 90 days. I can come in with cash and we'll go ahead and buy this house and you can close in 7 or 10 days. I don't care if you say no, because after you say no, I'm going next door. Opportunity is exploding. If you know where to look, the opportunity is there for you to take it. I didn't create that. I didn't make it a buyer's market. That's what it's called. When a buyer's market comes about, what it means is there's more people selling than there are buyers, meaning the sellers get into a frenzy. What am I going to do? I got to sell this house. That's when I can take advantage of the opportunity that's before me. Again, going back to JFK, I do not need to ask what my country can do for me. I can say, I'll do on my own, and I'll do what I need to do for this country. I can embrace that. I don't need to hit with trolls and try to explain to them why things are going so well. And at this point, if you're not realizing how things are going, you're going to get left behind. So Straits of Hormuz, the Pope, all distractionary activity to keep you away from what they're really doing, which is to discourage you in the midterms. Now I'm going to show you, in probably about 5 minutes, not to be discouraged, to ignore the trolls, to ignore the people who say that the gas prices are so crazy that I'm ignoring reality. You know what the reality is I want to pay attention to? The reality that I want to pay attention to is when I talk to Robin and I talk to Ashley and they say, this is fantastic, let's keep going. That's my reality. Why would I wallow? Why would I go to the pump and put the thing in? I cannot believe it's up $1.50. How about I make some more $1.50 to make up for it? How about you make some moves to make up for that $1.50? How about you do some things that you may not have felt comfortable before, and realizing you can actually do it now. You don't have to complain. The only person holding you back is yourself. And the one thing President Trump has been, nobody can deny, is he's taking the literal bullets for us. He's out there on the front line. He's doing it. There is nothing that he has done that is preventing you from enjoying prosperity. Every single move he makes is about you enjoying prosperity. That's why they hate him. That's why the people on X hate him. Every one of the things that they advocate for, as you notice, is always emotional. It's always heart-tugging. The Transformer stuff and MGGLBTQISSI stuff and free river to the sea, all that stuff doesn't do anything for you. What does for you, what does do something for you is your ability to take care of business for you and your family. I saw it this weekend. I told you about the gentleman I ran into, and he just could not believe that this was what we were doing down here. This is life. And if they get back in power, some of you are not going to make it because of what they're going to do. I mean, it'll be absolutely awful. So why not enjoy it and do whatever you can to make sure you become Democrat proof? That's a saying I'm going to begin saying more and more. Democrat proof, troll proof. Ah, you're laughing. I'm an idiot. Guess what? We're cashing out. We're doing well. We're going to continue to do well. I just want you guys to be able to do the same. Absolutely ignore the noise, focus on signal, and understand the difference between noise and signal. All right, let me get going. Is SB in here? SB, you got anything?
Wow, that's a hard act to follow. Where do I start? Barry, I'm telling you, I got to come up with some better stuff because I feel like I'm a small little minnow in the pond right now. I do have some stuff. I do have some good stuff. So let's check in with a few blue states real quick. The first one is good old Nick Shirley. He apparently has become so effective in California that Carl DeMaio, a Democrat, is trying to pass an act that's called the Stop the Nick Shirley Act. It criminalizes true investigative journalism. Make it make sense.
I think there's this thing called the First Amendment. I mean,
bingo.
Oh, okay. So basically, they want to shut up Nick Shirley types
because he's over the target as usual.
My God!
Instead of getting rid of the fraud, they want to just keep on perpetuating it. It just shows that he's over the target, and there's a lot more fraud to be exposed in California.
You know, when I was talking about business opportunities and things like that, we're talking about, what's he, 21, 22 years old? How old is Nick Shirley? I forget.
I think early 20s.
Yeah. He's doing something that as recent as 5 months ago, nobody was doing. No one. And he picked up his cell phone and he got together with some guy and let's go to Minnesota and take some videos. How do we get there? Well, it's going to cost $200 or $300 per ticket, and then we got to, rent a car in a hotel or so. What are we all in for? $1,000, $2,000? Let's see if we can't make some money doing this. And then what happened? I think, what did Elon give him? $100 grand?
Yeah, and also he took Waltz out. I mean, look what happened to his career. Waltz will not be rerunning, and other stuff, of course. So it's amazing. We need more of that because I remember back in the day when people used to report the news and become investigators. They don't do it anymore. That's why you heard me say it many times to you that I believe the media is an existential threat to the U.S. and the world. They truly are.
Well, the media, besides being a threat, they are obviously at this point, with no doubt, they're arm of the Democrat Party. And so they are willing foot soldiers. And that's why they're ticked off at Larry Ellison and his family about buying CNN and buying, some of the CBS and everything else. They're starting to lose the ability to keep talking their crap. And I almost thought one time, SV, is if people just start lining up the things that are on the board and don't listen to them and go, okay, we're taking down CBS, which means Margaret, whatever, Brennan, and some of these people are going to be gone. He's taking down CNN, and you can see how this will affect October and November. If the sale closes and he starts eliminating things, President Trump is constantly out there saying the failing New York Times. Oh, I do have one thing to show you about President Trump, too. I don't know if you guys saw, but it was everywhere in the news today that a judge threw out his lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I think he's going to refile it, I believe.
Yeah, it was a complete lie. Hold on, let me show everybody. Our powerful case against the Wall Street Journal and other defendants was asked to be refiled by the judge. It is not a determination, it is a suggested refiling, and we will be, as per the order, refiling an updated lawsuit on or before April 27th. Tell me why the President of the United States is the person who has to deliver that message. Why is it up to him? Why are nobody's reporting? Hey, by the way, it wasn't tossed out. It
Right.
wasn't tossed out. It was, he asked them to refile it. So it was something Scrivener error or whatever, but it's still going to be there. But you wouldn't know by the media. They immediately came out and said, nope, screw them. We're not going to allow it.
Well, they're not going to hear about this story too. This is one. So let's check in with Zohan. Let's see how he's doing his first 100 days. Okay, so he just basically said his first free grocery store is already burning up the budget. It's going to take a year to open. That's a shocker. He apparently budgeted $70 million for 5 grocery stores, but this first grocery store alone will cost $30 million.
Trump's going to have a field day with that. It's costing you $70 million to open a freaking grocery store. I mean, you and I literally, you could go, well, that's why it's going to cost $70 million. You got to buy all this stuff and then you're going to give it away. That makes sense. Not at all.
Communism works, doesn't it? Not.
If it was free, there would be no price tag of $70 million. You would be able to, walk to somebody, give me the keys to that building. I don't think so. It's going to cost you something, but it's a free supermarket. I don't care what the shit you do inside this place, but buy this building or whatever, it's going to cost you money. It's my property. And then you call the suppliers. Can you bring over some meat? Sure. I'll send you the invoice, but I'm giving it away for free. I don't care what you do with it, but you're going to pay me. Of course, they won't talk about it. They won't even.
The other thing is the people who voted for him, they're still clapping like seals. Great job. I mean, come on.
You know why? Because they don't pay for anything.
Exactly.
If the people that are not attacking, I don't use that word. The people who are coming into my mentions going $1.30 is a whole lot of money. Well, that's something you got to deal with. Make amends on your end. And I know there's a lot of people on fixed incomes, but just because you're on a fixed income does not mean you can't seize on different opportunities. And I think that's what we've been trained to think is that I'm retired, I'm on a fixed income. What does that mean? If somebody told me I had to live on $1,500 a month, I'd probably walk off one of the piers down here and just let Robin take insurance money. Okay, I'm like, I'm not going to sit. I'm 65 now. I'm not retiring. So yeah, not going to happen. All right.
Well, the other thing that I was going to say, the other thing is that, people, when I was working for many years, I had some tough, points in my life. I just cut back. Instead of buying 10 of these things, buy maybe 5 or 2. People forgot how to budget and, be fiscally responsible, So I get it where some of the people are coming from that are, having a hard time, but just, you got to cut back during these things. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of pain, but eventually it's going to turn around and things will get better. It always will.
Or do something about it. That's my advocating is if I want to take Robin to a dinner 2 or 3 nights a week, and if I wasn't making the amount of money to do that, well, like you said, either we wouldn't go or I would do something that I could afford to take her to dinner and do it. I mean, every single one of us, well, not every, some people were born differently. But if you grew up and you weren't around money and you saw the other people driving a nice car and you saw the other people going to the nice restaurant or buying nice clothes, did you accept it at that point that you were never going to be able to do that? You're never going to have a nice car. You're never going to live in a nice place and you're never going to be able to go out to restaurants. Hell no. I got to get some of that. And that's what I think people don't realize. Trump is allowing people to do that. All right. So,
all right. See you in a bit.
I got a whole bunch more to go. We haven't even run the intro yet.
I know. All right. See you.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I hate. I got to get the time.
No worries. There's actually like a second or 2 delay. So I understand. I was saying, I'll see you soon.
All right, everybody. Let me talk to you about a way that you can make some money is Lear Capital. If you bought some gold and silver and you did freak out, you're in a good position right now. As you see everything unfolding around you and understand they're trying everything they can do to suppress the market, whether it be oil or otherwise, you're research is going to allow you to see what's happening. You see, the days of excessive money printing, overvalued markets, and global unrest are finally catching up to the elite. Instead of pulling back, now is the time you really need to do your research, keep your eyes open to trends, and get some information from my friends at Lear Capital. So if you call the people at Lear Capital, they're going to not just try to sell you some gold and silver. They are going to try to educate you. Where am I? Okay, this right here. Educate you as best, because their experts are still calling and predicting that gold will hit $6,000 and that silver can go to 150 to 200. And even if it doesn't, you're still going to be good because you actually have a physical asset, not paper, the actual physical thing. Everything you're seeing right now is being driven by geopolitical uncertainty, inflation concerns, and a perceived weakening of the US dollar. So is it time for you to buy some gold or silver? That's only a decision that you can make. I can't make it for you, but I can tell you, you have to make one, and you can get some really good information and research if you call Lear Capital. They'll help you by getting the most accurate information, most timely information you'll need to make an informed decision. So call the best in the business and a company that Robin and I personally trust and buy from. Not just reading an ad, we actually buy it. I could bring in a nice big bar and show it to you. So call Lear Capital. It's a free call. There's no obligation to purchase. Just get your education and your information on protecting and growing your wealth with gold and silver. I'm sure there are some of you, or maybe many of you, that haven't called for whatever reason. Now is the time to begin educating yourself. They'll even walk you through shifting some of your money sitting in retirement accounts over to physical gold and silver. Don't go with that paper crap. Make sure you get a bunch of these. They got friends here. It's easy to do. I've been extremely satisfied with Lear's knowledge, service, and their prices. So I urge you to call today and learn more at 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com to learn more. All right, so let's get going with the show 42 minutes in. We haven't even started the show yet.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So this next segment here is going to cause some consternation with some people because, the anti-prosperity, nothing's working, Trump sucks people are going to have a big problem trying to, reconcile what I'm about to show you. So sit back and let's talk about what we're doing right now, because right now I'm celebrating some big, beautiful news that happened because of the big, beautiful bill. The news that the sleeper cell media doesn't want you to hear. Americans are getting larger tax refunds this filing season, and it's all because of the Trump economy, which is roaring back to life under Donald J. Trump. Now, I know some of you are sitting there with your check in your hand or a nice fat deposit in your bank, and you're probably thinking to yourself, how did this happen? How could this possibly have happened? And those of you who haven't gotten your tax returns yet, this segment here is going to give you something to look forward to. Because nobody, well, I wouldn't say nobody, many people won't even be talking about it because the news is too good and it doesn't compete with the $2 extra gas. So pull up a chair, grab some coffee. Let me walk you through this because what you're about to see isn't an accident. And what was funny is when I was planning today's show, I didn't even know what President Trump was about to do. All right, so I want you to check this out.
Americans are telling the IRS, show me the money. That's because the average tax return is more than 10% higher than last year. Deanna, you've been talking to an expert with advice on what to do with all that cash.
Absolutely. That's right, Nikki. There are a number of changes working in your favor this year. We can now deduct more of our state and local taxes on our federal returns. There's no tax on overtime, and we get more for those little tax deductions we call our kids. Now, early numbers indicated that the average tax return was about $3,700 this year. And
average $3,700, 11% more than last year. And then you get the insane people who come out, well, that's not like making any money. That's you just getting your money back. I don't know. I grew up my entire life with everybody who thought that getting a tax refund was actually making money. It was falling out of the sky because they got a tax refund. I don't care how you put it in your account. Well, I don't want you selling drugs or anything, but the fact that you're getting a direct deposit of that nature of 11% more than last year with an average of $3,700, there's no other way to look at that but under saying this is a direct result. No other way. This is a direct result of the conservative, pro-growth, America First policy that the so-called elites in Washington swore to you would never work. That's why they're not talking about it. It's a shock to so many of them. It's a shock to many of the trolls. The same people, and I've said this many a time, the same people who bitch about Trump are the same people who are going to benefit from Trump, assuming they're working. The big, beautiful bill, it worked. It worked big time. According to the numbers just out today from the IRS, which you can't disavow because it's actually tangible money hitting your bank account. Refunds issued by week 9 of the 2026 filing season hit a whopping 221.7, can't forget that 0.7, $221.7 billion. Compare that to 195 billion last year. That's a 13.6% jump. And 185 billion the year before that. We're taking $36 billion more in refunds going back to your pocket, the pockets of hardworking Americans, instead of to the adults in Washington, D.C. to spend it how they want to. When you get this average refund that most people are getting, anywhere between $3,400 and $3,700, that's up significantly from last year. Like the lady said, 11%. And up from 2024, well, it's up almost 19%. Real money going into your bank account. Yes, it was yours. That's why it's called a refund, but it's still money going into your bank account. That's the kind of money that pays the mortgage, puts food in the refrigerator, takes the grandkids out to Disney or ice cream, and even helps you pay for gas. Funny, nobody's talking about that. Nobody is saying, wait a second, I got an extra 3,700, an extra 5, an extra 8, extra 9, and as you're going to see, an extra $11,000. I don't give a shit if I've got to pay $2 a gallon more between now and October. President Trump just showed me, he just proved to me his strategy is working. Nobody wants to talk about that.
If you need a little motivation, how about this? For those expecting a refund, they are higher on average this year. NBC's senior business correspondent Christine Roman's bringing us glad tidings of great
And
joy.
we need it.
A bigger refund. Why are they bigger and how much bigger?
We're talking about parents, seniors, homeowners, anybody who's like a gig worker who's got overtime and tips. Those are all the people who are going to get more money this year. So it's a big group of you out there. And we're talking about $3,400. That is the typical refund at this point. That's up about 11% from last year. So that is a good extra chunk of money.
Why isn't that being screamed from the rooftops? Why are we talking about the Pope? People are seeing 11% more money coming back to them. Their own money, yes, but it's still not in the hands of government. It's coming back to you. Remember, this is probably the first indication that people have specifically that the Trump doctrine, the Trump economy is working. The very first benchmark that everybody can now look at. Even Democrats. Let that sink in. There are Democrats opening up their bank app today and go, whoa. Did you see what's in the account, honey? Yeah. How did it happen? It happened because of Trump. You can complain, you can go protest, you can have the no kings BS, you can do it all. But at the end of the day, when the doors are closed, you got to look at yourself in the mirror or the person sitting next to you and go, damn, he did it, didn't he? Uh-huh. Yeah, he did it. And on the flip side, against the refunds, now the people filing, I can't wait to see what those numbers look like. How much less people are paying for income tax. Once again, look in the mirror, even you Democrats, and go, how did it happen? How is it all of a sudden I either got more or I got to pay less? Tell me how that happened. Tell me how Liberation Day, as President Trump said, actually has to happen. Forget Liberation Day. It's Independence Day. Just like it should be, the landmark legislation delivered the kind of tax relief working families have been praying for. Retroactive cuts for tax year 2025 meant your payroll withholding tables hadn't caught up yet. You paid in more than you owed all year, and now, boom, the IRS is sending you back with interest, essentially. That's your money, not theirs. Just imagine it. There are people right now who don't listen, don't believe, hate Trump, hate MAGA, but are cashing checks because of him. And you don't even have the decency to go, he was right. No other reason. This is the biggest, clearest picture any of us have that what he's doing is working. Scott Bessent told you, Kevin Hassett told you, oh, and he would sit there in the spot, oh, people are going to be loving this. They're going to love what they see. And it's happening. You can't look the other way. How can anybody, and I'm going to keep pushing the Democrats because you and MAGA, you know this is what you voted for. You voted to get more of your money back, to tell the government, no, you can't take as much. Your check's going to be lower. And now it's happening. And people don't want to accept that that's what he did. Do I have to pay a little bit higher in gas, but I got to pay tens of thousands of dollars less in taxes? Oh, I'm okay. Do I have to pay a little bit more in gas, but I just picked up a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $11,000 refund? Oh, I'll be okay. Let me break it down for you a little bit. First, as you know, as she mentioned on issues, we can do different things with the youngins. You got the child tax credit went up from $2,000 to $2,200 per year, an extra $200 in your pocket per kid. 35% of people who claim this average 1 kid per family. That's real relief for moms and dads raising the next generation of American patriots. Tell your kids, hey, we're going on the movies today. Why, Mom? Because President Trump gave us back our money. That's not being fantastical. That's not being in reality. It's absolutely true. Then on top of that, you get the standard deduction bumped up to $1,000 more for singles and $2,000 more for married filing jointly. Over 90% of you use the standard deduction. So this hits almost everybody. Remember, this is two-sided. One side is the people who are getting refunds. The other side are people who are cutting checks. If you're getting a refund and or if your check that you're writing is less, that's all because of Trump. No tax on tips, up to $25,000. That's huge. That's huge for waitresses, bartenders, service workers, Uber drivers who've been getting crushed. No tax on overtime pay, up to $12,000 singularly, or up to $25,000 jointly. That's a lot of money. Finally, we're rewarding the people, the men and women who actually show up and work the extra hours instead of punishing them. And the Democrats have a problem with it. You can talk about Swalwell and you can talk about the Strait of Hormuz all you want, but the bottom line is, and has always been, it's about the economy, stupid. So how can we have a problem with this? Seniors, those of you on fixed income who are doing something, might be investing, you get an extra $6,000 deduction. And there's even a deduction for up to $10,000 in interest on loans for new qualified vehicles. What do you think that means? Well, it means some people are going to go buy new cars. Some people are going to go out and buy new or lease new cars. And you got a $10,000 break on it. Real money that you can spend. The experts say these provisions alone are adding an extra $370 to $560 into the average refund across the board. Families with kids, hourly workers, and seniors are the biggest winners. That's the Trump economy, and it even makes the Democrats a little bit happier until they realize, shit, Trump did this. Well, you can always send the money back. You can always say, I don't want anything from Trump. Bet you won't do it, though. Bet you won't write a check to the Treasury saying, it's for Trump, F Trump, have my money, keep my money. I don't need it. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to pretend it never happened. Putting money back where it belongs, in your pocketbook, in your bank account, not in some bureaucrat slush fund, not so that they can do whatever they want to fund donkeys on a treadmill. And then the biggest thing is, as I always say to you, is learn about the contrast. Contrast this with what Biden was doing. Contrast this with what Liz Warren and all these people want to do. All they want to do is steal your money, take from you as much as possible. That's the Democrat way. Remember, they were going to hire 87,000 new agents to go after middle-class folks like you? Remember, they called it Build Back Better when they were going to find out if you got $500 in a Venmo account and they were going to have to tax that? And now here we are, a little bit over a year into Trump's second term, and the economy is delivering. The big, beautiful bill is delivering. Wages are up. Opportunity is back. And you're seeing it in your tax return. This is what happens when you cut taxes and get government out of the way and let the American people keep more of what they earn. Now, I told you at the beginning, that's why I had a problem with what that guy was saying. I don't need Trump to give me anything. Just get out of the way. But Now, this is simply amazing. I want to show you this.
The President of the United States is set to speak live at any moment. We have not been told exactly what the topic will be. We can tell you that this will be live from the Oval Office at the White House. Contextually, we know there's a lot going on. The U.S. blockade of ships in the Strait of Hormuz, of course. Iran might be the first thing that he would talk about. But there are a whole host of other issues that are going on today, not competing with that, but certainly on the bill. So we will be watching for what the President says and take his remarks immediately.
Is that a correction?
She didn't know. She thought this was going to be a war. He didn't even announce what he was going to do, and it blew the doors off of everybody.
It definitely was.
Well,
Yeah. I saved over $11,000 by not having to claim.
was that surprising to you, actually?
It was very surprising. Very surprising.
Great big beautiful bill. And that doesn't include overtime in your case. This is only just based on what we did in terms of every other aspect of the tax bill, right?
Yes, sir.
So it was 11,000 saving.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that incredible? And that's what it is. The tax cut. It's really, we call it the great big beautiful bill. We should call it the great big beautiful tax cut bill because it's tremendous amounts of money. And that's overtime. That's also on Social Security, as you know.
Yes.
And it's pretty amazing.
Yes, it is.
Well, you're really nice. Would you like to do a little news conference with me?
Now, I want you to understand something. I don't know how old this woman is, but she looks like she could be, I don't know, early 50s, late 40s, maybe even a little bit older. Actually, her thing says DoorDash grandma, I think, on it, whatever. But she is making money delivering McDonald's to the White House or wherever she happens to live. Meaning every single one of you could be making a few extra bucks delivering DoorDash to people, provided it's in a safe neighborhood. Just a little bit extra. And that includes her gas because she's got to pay for the gas to go deliver the food. And in the times we're in right now, all people do is order food. Everybody wants to order food. Bring it to the office. Do whatever we need to do. And this woman has made money doing it. And President Trump, in case you didn't hear what she said, I got back $11,000. And she can't be alone. And then then she did a press conference of her own. I want to show you this right now.
Well, what this really means for me is, as they said last year, my husband, he was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. And during that time, I was able to take some time and take him to his appointments and, be there with him. But, as you know, going through treatment, even with insurance, you kind of break the bank. And, we pretty much went through our savings. And so when I found out about the no tax on tips, I was like, this is incredible because this, it's not going to replace my life savings, but it's going to help certainly with future doctor's appointments and future things that, we have going on.
Sure. How
and
much
so
would, go ahead. Sorry.
It means a lot.
How much would you say it has saved you?
Well, over half of my my amount that I earned last year were tips. And so that is an incredible amount. So, if you really want to break down the numbers, I probably saved probably $3,000 to $4,000 with not having to pay.
Again, the Democrats are going to be able to benefit from this, for everything she's doing. It's funny, somebody posted this, and it says, federal stops taxing tips. Your state doesn't. Employers still report them. Not true. That depends on your state. And this is where you need to lobby, depending on your state, because I can tell you, down here in Florida, there is no income tax. That shot, but the guy I told you who I met at the casino, that was the first thing he said. Y'all don't have income tax down here? Nope. So all you got to do is pay federal. That's it. And then you've got a sales tax, but that's consumption based. But there's no income tax down here. So as you're saying this, Joe Michael, that's a problem of your state. That's not here. Down here, you go buy something, or what you make money, you make that money. You got to pay your income tax, your government, your federal income tax. But no, it's wide open. And somebody said I misjudged her age. I am never going to say how old a woman is. So yeah, I say, yeah, she's about 40. I'll err on the side of caution, but she has a shirt on that said DoorDash Grandma. So there's probably a bunch of grandmas in here who could do the exact same thing. That's all I'm saying.
These people, these are not the nicest people. They're not nice like you. You know that, right?
I'll do whatever you ask me to do, sir.
So the no tax on tips is something special, right?
It's very special.
And that's the one that really pertains to you more than anything else.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Fantastic. So it's such an honor to meet you. And I think you voted for me, do you think?
Maybe.
I heard you're a great supporter. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll put this over here. And why don't we have a news conference with us? Want to do it?
Sure.
You don't have to say too much. I think they're looking about hormones straight and various other things. Do you have any questions?
All right. So now this woman has come to the White House in a photo op where she brought food to the White House. She's telling people specifically how much this big, beautiful bill and my tax return has meant to me and my family and my husband who is sick. You would think the media would be right away going, oh my gosh, that is fantastic that the big, beautiful bill works so well for you. Yeah, that's what you'd think, but you'd be wrong.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted.
Completely ignored her. We can't talk about that. We can't talk about the big, beautiful bill. Let's trash Trump for posting a picture that looks like he's Jesus. That's what's most important to people. That's what needs to be all over X today. That's what we want people focusing on. Hey, have you checked your bank account? Shh, Trump screwed up and posted this picture. We need to destroy him for that. We need to support the Pope. But damn, I got like $11,000 back in my account. Now screw that. This is what's more important. These people don't want you listening to common sense. The narrative said he said something bad about the Pope. We need to attack him. The very first question from the media.
It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example, the 11,000, I understand your husband's going through treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's going through some very serious cancer treatment, so
yes, sir.
This goes a long way.
Yes, sir. It sure does.
Yeah.
As an example, I make people feel better. Hey, Dorothy, yeah, did you make $11,000 in your refund? Oh, yes, sir, it's helping. And your husband who's home sick, he's going to, yeah. Oh, that's what's most important, making sure these people are economically stable, that they get more of their money back. You're talking about a meme. That's what's most important to the media. Memes. So let's see what the second question is.
President, are another round of talks planned with Iran? And if so, will you send Vice President James Vance a bit?
Well, he's done a good job, and Steve and Jared, they've all done a very good job. And I can tell you that we've been called by the other side. They'd like to make a deal very badly, very badly.
What was the second point over? You said it was over nuclear.
It was over nuclear, very similar. Yeah, very good. I guess you're listening. It's over the fact that they will never have a nuclear weapon. Iran, you marking it down? Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. And we agreed to a lot of things, but they didn't agree to that. And I think they will agree to it. I'm almost sure of it. In fact, I am sure of it. If they don't agree, there's no deal. There'll never be a deal. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, and we're going to get the dust back. we'll get it back. Either we'll get it back from them or we'll take it.
It's amazing. SV just posted something. I had to look at it and go, we're talking about economics. And if you want any proof on where the Democrats are going, this is it. SV posted, and he says here, police officers are fleeing New York. Ugandan Mayor Zohan Mandami is cutting overtime hours, and veteran officers are reportedly leaving. Yeah. Wait a minute. I've had some police officers that are friends, and they make so much money in overtime. They sit at construction sites, and they go ahead and they go to football games and baseball games, and they get all this overtime. It's so much money that sometimes it could actually dwarf their actual salary. I'm going to go work the football game. I'm going to be out here directing traffic at the Miami Dolphins Stadium. I'm going to go to a Girl Scout meeting. I'm going to go stand post at a church. All of that's overtime. And Mandami's like, no, we're not going to let you have any overtime. Bye. They don't want prosperity. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why I've been trying to tell you all along. And that's why the media avoided talking to this woman who's standing right in front of her. The reporter. She's standing there. Remember, they've got the cut where they're just showing him, but this woman is standing there. And President Trump's like, you got any questions for her? You know, the $11,000 she just got back, the actual cash of $3,000 or $4,000 she's actually, saved. Anything about that? No, just want to talk about crap. Okay.
As far as the naval blockade is concerned, what's the end game? Is it to force Iran back to the negotiating table? Is it to open up the strait so that gas prices ultimately come down?
Maybe everything. I mean, both of those things, certainly, and more. We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen. And, the amazing thing is can you believe this? We don't use the strait. We don't need the strait. We have our own oil and gas, much more than we need. We have more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia. Think of this. We produce more. Saudi Arabia, and add Russia to it. Substantially more. And by next year, we'll have double that amount. So we don't need it, but the world needs it. And many ships are heading to our country right now as we speak to load up with the best. Really, I guess you could say, somebody said the best and sweetest. I don't know exactly what sweet is, but when it relates to oil, it's a good thing. But they're coming to our country right now. There are many boats coming to our country. Now, it could very well be this is going to be settled before that. We've been called this morning by the right people, the appropriate people, and they want to work a deal. They would like to work a deal.
Is it your anticipation, Mr. President, that other countries will assist in this effort to blockade Iran and those?
Yeah, other countries are going to also. We don't need other countries, frankly, but they've offered the services. We'll let it be known probably tomorrow. Yeah, start at 10 o'clock.
Classified Robert Marin supports you and your policies. Praising you for defending religious freedom.
Yeah. No, I don't, because Pope Leo said things that are wrong. He was very much against what I'm doing with regard to Iran, and you cannot have a nuclear Iran. Pope Leo would not be happy with the end result. You have hundreds of millions of people dead, and it's not going to happen. So I can't. I think he's very weak on crime and other things. So I'm not. I mean, he went public. I'm just responding to Pope Leo, and his brother is a big MAGA person, and he's a great guy, Louis. And I said I like Louis better than I like the Pope. No, you have to have law and order in our country, and that's what we have now. We have the lowest crime numbers we've had in a long time, despite the fact that many criminals were allowed into our country, but we've gotten a lot of them out. We've done a great job on crime. So we have the lowest murder rate in 125 years, since 1900, the lowest murder rate. So we believe strongly in law and order, and he seemed to have a problem with that. So there's nothing to apologize for. He's wrong. The other thing is he didn't like what we're doing with respect to Iran, but Iran is wants to be a nuclear nation so they can exterminate the world. Not going to happen.
Now, notice as they're talking, remember that lady's still standing there and he's talking about the things he's doing. You know, it's tax season. People are going to get refunds. And then all of a sudden today, and they know this, they all have earpieces. They all have phones. They can see what the market is doing. This is why they're focusing on Pope Leo. This is why they're focusing on what are you going to do about the Strait of Hormuz? What happens if Iran wants to come back to the table? I don't need them to. They don't want to hear that. This is the kind of stuff that pisses them off. I want you to see this right now. This is the current indices on CNBC. We're about to close for the day. The Dow is up 300. The S&P is up 69. The NASDAQ is up 280. The headline, stocks stage a big comeback Monday with the S&P 500 wiping out the Iranian war losses. What he's doing is working, but they can't focus on what he's doing successfully. So all they're going to be talking about is, what are you going to do in the Strait of Hormuz? And why did you go after the Pope? And blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, the story, the big story, is what people are reacting to. It's on the very top of their page up there. As you see the scroll, let me put that down. Stocks stage a big comeback with all the losses being wiped out. But that's not what they want to talk about. They don't want to talk about people enjoying prosperity under President Trump. And they've convinced so many people on X and on these other networks to not talk about it as well. You're in a cult. You can't possibly believe what he's saying. It makes no sense, except when you see it in your bank account. Getting people to ignore reality is the reality they want. The reality they seek is to get you to ignore what's really going on. And so they send out the minions to call other people cultists. And I'm like, the reality is what people actually know themselves. Yes, gas prices are up. But yes, gas prices are abated because people are having to pay less in taxes and are getting bigger refunds. Anybody want to debate that? Maybe he brings out the lady here, but nobody wants to talk about that.
Classified deal is not reached by the end of the ceasefire. Does your threat from before still stand?
Yeah, I don't want to comment on that, but it won't be pleasant for them. Let me put it that way.
Has your timetable changed in any way in terms of this conflict?
No, it's going on. Just right now, there's no fighting. Right now, we have a blockade. They're doing no business. I didn't like seeing boats come out if they were doing business with Iran, but if they weren't, no boats came out. So now Iran is doing absolutely no business, and we're going to keep it that way very easily. Don't forget, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. It's a lot.
And I just want to keep reminding you, as you see the red shoulder from Grandma there, she's standing there waiting for someone to, hey, how's your life better? Are things better right now? Are you and your husband feeling better? Is he getting his medical treatment? And blah, blah. Nothing. It's like she didn't even show up. And all they'll show on television the rest of the night is Strait of Hormuz and the Pope. And that's why people keep getting weirded out by Trump keeps talking about the same things. Well, I can tell you right now, it's April 13th. You got 2 days before tax season. Everybody pays on April 15th if you haven't filed extensions or whatever. And for the next 2 or 3 days, I can guarantee you there is going to be a whole lot of news about what's going on with the tax refunds and the less taxes people have to pay. Now, segue to this. If people are making more or getting back more in a refund and they're having to pay less out to the government, what do you think then begins to happen? Well, most people are going to spend. So you're going to see the retail numbers go up because now if I got $3,700, I got $5,000, I got $10,000 back from the government. Well, yeah, I'm going to put a lot of it in savings if you're smart. You maybe go and invest some, but then you're going to go, hey, honey, I got to go buy a new pants. pair of pants. I got to go get a pair of shoes. I got to get a new hat, which a bunch just went out. Whatever it is that you got to get, you're going to get, which is going to cause retail sales to go up, which the media won't want to cover that as well. Watch. And then, of course, it's close to Mother's Day. Mother's Day happens. What happens? Every restaurant in the town is packed. You can't get in. And then, of course, coming into 4th of July, well, I skipped something. I skipped Memorial Day, which is going to be massive. And then we got 4th of July, which is, what they got planned down at the White House with Dana White and the Octagon going in. Man, we got so much prosperity ahead of us, and they're trying to divert your attention away from it. Yeah, but what about the gas prices? What about them? I got the money from my refund. I'm good. I didn't have to pay this much as I did last year. I'm good. Or I'm going to go get a DoorDash gig, and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to make some money. You don't need any experience. You don't need experience to drive an Uber except for have a driver's license, but you can get paid.
From predominantly going to China, Mr. President, has Xi Jinping reached out and
No, but we have a very good relationship with China. He would like to see this ended also. He certainly wants it ended. Everyone, I want to see it ended too, but we can't give a nuclear weapon to a group of people that have caused nothing but havoc for 47 years. Look, I'm the president that's done something about it. This should have been, and many other presidents regret that they didn't. So I'm doing something about it.
Impeachment documents that were just declassified show that Eric Ciarinella not only submitted false information, but that he had no direct knowledge of the alleged conversations. All hearsay. Do you feel vindicated by those?
Yeah, I do. They're a bunch of crooked people. You're talking about with respect to all of the things that they put against me? Yes. Well, it's come out that in so many different ways. Thank you very much for that question. I appreciate it. But in so many different ways, the election was rigged. The 2020 election was rigged. We found that out. What you just said is just a piece of that. It's a big piece, but minor, relatively speaking, compared to what they did. They cheated in the election. They cheated on the vote. They cheated in every way possible. And it's the only way we got an incompetent man to be a president. And he was an incompetent man. Many of the things that we're talking about, even including this would have been settled a long time ago, not now. And it should have been settled by other presidents. But the election was a rigged election. We can't let that happen to our country. Well, it's a very serious charge against them and the Democrats. They cheat. They can't get elected with their policy. So their policy is no good. They want to have, open borders. They want to have men playing in women's sport. Do you think that men should play in women's sports?
I really don't have an opinion on that.
You don't, I'll bet you do.
No, I'm here about
Pizza.
no tax on tips.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want the smoke from these nuts, is pretty much what she said. I don't want to deal with that. I'm here about the money, which is what Americans should be focused on. I don't give a crap about the crap. I'm here because I've made some money. I want you to keep doing that.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Ms. President. Is it your understanding that during this period of time while the U.S. has instituted its naval blockade, that oil companies will be able to send their oil tankers through the strait, get more oil out to this area?
Yeah, I think they're going to be doing very well there, and I think they're doing very well here. A lot of tankers are coming up here. They're coming in empty and out full. And we have a great capacity to take care of that business.
Ma'am, may we know your name, please? Have you delivered to the White House before?
I have not. My name is Sharon Simmons.
And are the White House good tippers? Do you know?
Wait.
Potentially. Yes, very.
Oh my gosh, pulls out $100 bill. Here you go. How about now? Oh yeah, that works. I cannot believe this guy. Oh, he's so good. Oh.
Mr. President, can I ask you something?
Thank you. You reminded me.
Mr. President, one on Cuba, sir. You previously said that you had no problem with countries sending fuel to Cuba after previously promising to Turkey. What happened? What changed?
Well, we're going to see with Cuba. Cuba's another story. Cuba's been a terribly run country for a long time. It's got a bad system. It's been very oppressive, as you know. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, all of whom just about voted for me. And they were treated very badly. In many cases, family members have been killed. They've been beaten up and mugged, and terrible things happen in Cuba. And Cuba's a failing nation. And we're going to do this. And we may stop by Cuba after we're finished with this. But Cuba is a nation that was just been horribly run for many years by Castro.
You said President Housing Regulator Bill Pulte, regarding those two recent referrals for Letitia James for insurance fraud. Do you know if federal prosecutors got evidence?
Well, I don't know. I know she's a very corrupt person. And you're talking about the so-called Attorney General of New York. She's a very corrupt person. That's been proven now. And I know I have nothing to do with it, but they're looking at things all over the place, more than one state concerning her and concerning people like Comey, who's a dirty cop. Comey's a dirty cop, and dirty cops are bad. Nobody likes the police more than me, the law enforcement more than me, but Comey's a totally dirty cop, and we're not going to stand for it. Yeah.
The UFC fight that's happening at the White House this summer. UFC typically numbers those fights consecutively, but should they label just one UFC 17-7?
That's a good idea. I'll tell that to Dana White.
Okay, she got cut off in the mic there. UFC fights are always numbered consecutively. I forget what the one down here was, UFC 397, UFC 398. Makes it easy for you to go back and watch them and see things. And so she just asked, what about renaming the one here UFC 1776? And he got to a big smile on his face. I kind of like that idea. Instead of like UFC 250, which already took place, we know there hasn't been a UFC 1776. But he smiled. Look at the smile on his face. He liked that. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. You want to talk about that? I don't know if you guys saw that Dana White was doing a press conference after the event down here in Miami. And again, don't ask Dana White questions if you don't want Dana White answers, because he tell you straight to your face, you're stupid. That's an effing stupid question. And he was just smacking the press. I don't know why you would go to a press conference with a guy laden full of testosterone and a room full of other guys who beat up people for a living and come in there with some limp-wristed reporter and say, hey, why is it doing it like this for? And he just slays them. I love it. And so now, in case you don't know, let me just be the first to tell you, they're going to do on July 4th a big UFC fight right there at the White House on the lawn. And they did a rendition of this, the lights and everything, in addition to the race that they're going to be doing. So if you can get tickets or want to go up to Washington, D.C., get up there, because it's going to be an amazing weekend. I think they said it's July 4th, whenever that falls on. So anyway, UFC fight and a big race to celebrate America 250, which you can't do in New York. That's the other thing Mondami has done. You can't celebrate America 250. Nope, can't do it. Sorry.
I will say I've been involved with a lot of big events. I have never had an event that's had more interest than the UFC fight that we have right at the front door. Right there, they're going to start building about a 4,500 seat arena. And then in the back at the Ellipse, we're going to have maybe 100,000, 50 to 100,000 people, I guess. They're building tremendous stages, and you're going to have massive screens of the fight. And it's a very popular sport. But I have never been involved because of the White House and everything. There's a lot of reasons for it. But we're having a fight at the White House on June 14th. And we're going to have an arena built right at the front door. And, if you want, is your husband up to coming, do you think? Does he like UFC?
He might.
If he's feeling good, we'll make sure you come, okay?
That would be wonderful.
That's
Thank
better
you.
than the tip I just gave you, I'll tell you. That's a lot better. But no, if he's feeling good, right?
Yeah.
Is he doing okay? Is he going to be okay?
He's doing very well. He's doing very well. He actually, during the process, he wrote a book. And
Go ahead, give him the name. Maybe it's
he hasn't had it published yet, but it's a book on humility. And his name is Leo, and he's just
good guy.
Doing good. He's doing great.
How long are you married?
We have been married for 6 years.
Oh, so that's good.
We've, like most people, we've been together for over 10. So
that's very good. Well, that's very nice to say hello to him. He's going to be good. Okay. He's going to get better and he's going to be good.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you all, and I especially want to thank you for being here.
Well, I want to thank you.
Thank you, man.
For the no tax on tips.
Oh, that's good.
It has helped my family out immensely, and I definitely appreciate it.
It's so nice. The one thing that I just in leaving, we've had more good press for a change, having to do with the fact that people are receiving more money from their tax refunds than they ever thought possible. We had a man the other day got $5,000. Another one got $7,000. They weren't expecting anything like this, and it's because of the great big beautiful bill. And that's why you came, and I really appreciate it. And tell your husband to get better.
I will.
And if he's feeling good, you'll come up and you'll watch that fight.
All right.
June 14th.
I appreciate it.
All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think Todd, as far as doing a fantastic job, I will say that. He's a great lawyer. I know that because he's been with me a long time. And so far, he's doing a great job. But we have incredible people in the DOJ getting better all the time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
I thought that was awesome. I don't know. I saw a couple of you guys were saying, was she a liberal? I don't know. But she decided she was going to take the Fifth Amendment on answering about the girls and boys sports. Who knows? But she obviously enjoyed. I hope she was a liberal. I hope she was a Democrat who realized the guy's not walking around with horns coming out of his head. That he's an approachable, smiling, affable person. Because if she was a liberal and she's got to go home and people are like, so you went to the White House? What was it like? Well, he treated me well. And because of him, I got $11,000 back on my refund. And then he gave me $100 or $200 cash tip. I'm pretty sure it was a pretty good day. Meanwhile, the media has to go off and sulk somewhere. Somebody in the chat said that the fight is actually on June 14th, his birthday. I said July 4th. So June 14th, I believe, is where the fight is. But it's going to be huge. Huge. Like you said, about 100,000 people watching on big screens, and then like 4,000 or 5,000 people at their makeshift arena. So it's going to be a massive time. And media doesn't want to talk about this. They don't want you to know. They can't stand it that the President Trump's big, beautiful bill did all of this. You just saw somebody make some money, big money. I don't know how to say it any better than that. The reality of the situation is that they don't want you to absorb reality. And it's the worst time of the year right now for the Democrats because the contrast will be so strong. What did you pay last year? What did you get last year? And it's going to stare Americans in the face, which means the media will probably do their best to stay clear of it. They probably don't want anybody at all talking about what they're going to be doing with their tax refund. Or how little how much less they had to pay in taxes. And that's one of the reasons why I'm going to be focused on doing so many real estate deals as well. So let me tell you about Brightcore, and then we'll get to the next section of, I'll get to SV, then I'll go to this section. Let me go SV first. You got anything, bro?
Hey there. Yeah. I just sent you a link to a wonderful post from the White House. It was a little video. It's got music, so you can't play it, I'm sure. But it explains that 4 million plus parents already unlocked the American dream for kids with that trumpaccounts.gov. Wow. The video is funny. It's got like a talking baby, though, and it's got some music. It's more troll. It's troll. Part of it's trolling. show the left that like we're trying to help people. It's prosperity. We want everybody to succeed. But I'm sure.
Hey, who put it out? Because I didn't get the. You might have sent it to my. You might have sent it to my phone. But hold on, let me see if I can find it on the White House. Is it the one? Is it the one with the baby sitting next to the big stack of cash?
Yep.
Hold on, let me. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Let me do the Brightcore spot.
Okay.
And then while that's on, I'll listen to it so I can see if I can play it, because I remember that baby. That baby was from. The E-Trade commercial. That's where he. I'll play it. Even if I have to cut the music, I'll go ahead and play it.
It's fantastic.
It might, and it might not be copyrighted music, and if it is, I'll play it and then I'll cut it afterwards, and we'll see what happens.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll be back at you. Hey, did you know that the United States life expectancy peaked at 78 years in 2014? And global life expectancy is declining for the first time in 30 years because people are aging faster than ever before. This is due to more toxins in the air, chemicals in our soil and in our food, and other external factors that are new to us. What most people don't know is that we can actually fight aging on a cellular level. And I've got this chart of a study that I want you guys to take a look at, because scientists have discovered that kimchi actually slows the aging process of human cells, helping protect them and delay aging at the cellular level. The power of nature can outweigh the power of pharmaceuticals without the nasty side effects. And now you can get all the benefits of kimchi in a simple capsule with Kimchi One. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains, plus antioxidants and enzymes that support your digestion, your metabolism, and skin health from the inside out. As we age, we become more susceptible to microbial threats. Kimchi One is a natural antimicrobial, helping your body fight off harmful bacteria, viruses, and even toxins while boosting immunity and energy. And best of all, Kimchi One is 100% made in the United States. All natural, non-GMO, supports your gut, protect your cells, and feel younger every day with Kimchi One from Brightcore. And right now, if you'd like to get some kimchi, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link in the description of this video, or by just use the code Barry for 25% off your entire order. Or even better, you get a nice, better deal. Call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Give them a call now at 888-418-6738. I got to tell you guys something funny. After the Carlos Santana concert, and it was mobbed, and the driver we had, he goes, "I'll get you back to a hotel," and he knew all these back roads. And we're going down this road, and I look over and I go, "Robin, does that say Kimchi Mart?" And she looks at it like, "Yeah." It was the first time I've ever seen a store for kimchi. And I'm like, what the hell do you sell in a kimchi mart? If it wasn't like 11 o'clock at night, I would have asked them, pull over. I got to go to the kimchi mart and take some pictures. Maybe I should go back this weekend. We'll see. I'll be back in 90 seconds.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Yeah, it's what my Trump account looks like. All mine, baby. When a baby is born, money gets invested in their name, and then it just sits there, growing. While I'm still learning shapes, years go by, and when I'm growing up, the money grows up too. One day I could use it for college, to buy a house, or maybe to start my own company. I'm building wealth, and I can't even walk yet. Boom. All you babies out there, make sure you get signed up.
Looking for the sauce, I got the recipe.
Yeah. That was wonderful.
Oh my God. I'm building stacks and I can't even walk yet. Oh my God. Oh God. Oh. The libs are gonna go ballistic on that one. Oh my God.
I saw that. I knew that would be a classic.
Oh my gosh. If people don't realize it now that this man is about building prosperity, you never will. If you get mired into BS and all the stuff the news wants you to focus on, instead of him telling you make some bank, get your babies making some bank. Oh my gosh! Wow. I mean, could they be more telegraphic with what they're saying? We want you to make some money. We want you to, you just followed up with an interview with a lady. Is like, I got $11,000. And she ain't going to that fight unless they give her a ticket, because she's already got that money. That money's already spent. Oh my God.
Awesome.
It is so cool to see people enjoying prosperity. All right, let me get into the next segment real quick. Thank you.
All right. See you soon.
Good.
I learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough. These are criminals. We're dealing with really hard criminals.
He's 100% right. Joining us right now, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller, quite aggressive with immigration. Stephen, is it great to see you? Is it going to be a softer approach under Secretary Mullen?
So what President Trump was referring to there was the need to be tactically smart, tactically effective, tactically efficient. In order for ICE officers to do their jobs, to perform their duties, and let's not forget that the Democrats in Congress are trying to, and in the process of working to defund ICE and CBP. But in order for ICE to be most effective at its mission, you need to have good, sharp, smart, tactical planning to be able to make these arrests as effectively, quickly, seamlessly as possible. So I think what you're going to see under Secretary Mullen, who is become a close friend of mine, everybody in the administration has nothing but the highest respect, admiration, and esteem for him, is he's going to be sitting down with ICE, with the professionals at CBP, and developing a plan to carry out, as the president has promised, the largest mass deportation operation in history as seamlessly, professionally, effectively, quickly as it can possibly be done.
Right. So, and optics do matter, and we all know that as you tell the story. The $50 billion has been put aside to build a wall. I understand it hasn't been spent. What's it going to take to get that wall built?
So we got some very exciting news for you there, Brian. Right now, DHS is at 5 miles a week under President Trump's leadership on the border wall. We call it border wall phase 2, since President Trump did 500 miles in term 1. So I think Congress fully funded it in the first reconciliation bill. So that money is there. It's set aside. It's dedicated for the project. And I just learned today that CBP says they will soon be at the milestone of 1 mile per day in new border wall. Nice. And that includes, by the way, a water barrier. So on the Rio Grande, they are putting a water barrier in place. There's 5 miles so far, but it's going to stretch all the way across to stop water-based human smuggling.
So a couple
and of course, we don't hear any of this. This was an interview he had on Brian Kilmeade's show last night. And I'm watching this thing as I'm prepping for today's show, and I'm taking my notes, and I'm like, nobody's talking about this stuff. nobody is actually out there disclosing Stephen Miller, when you don't see him in the news, you know he's back there in the kitchen cooking something up. And you know what else you don't hear anything about? Not a peep, nobody, not even Fox. What are the Avengers of America doing? What are they called? The Shield of America? Shield of the Americas? With Kristi Noem and Marco Rubio and all the stuff they're doing with the Latin American countries. You think they've been sitting on their hands for the last month? Nope. They're working in secret. They're doing something in these Latin American countries that we don't know about yet. And the media has just completely changed the subject. It's all about Eric Swalwell, it's a fraud there. They had to get him out of the campaign. I would bet anything that he took money and just said, I'll leave. Remember, his big competitor, Tom Steyer, billionaire, there'd be no problem handing him out $10 million. But we're seeing all this ancillary news, all the news that they can make bombastic and make it look bad. And the stuff that you are probably interested in, they don't talk about. A mile a day of border wall? I didn't know they were still building it. I didn't know. Nobody talks about it. And then when he gets into the arrest, wait to hear this part.
Thanks, Stephen. Everyone said it's impossible to talk about immigration reform without sealing the border. Nobody I know, Democrat or Republican, who does not believe the border is sealed. Leads some to say, like farmers and meat packers, what about some of the illegals here that are helping my company? Which led Mike Lowell, a Republican in a battleground district, to roll out the Dignity Act. Here's a little of it.
It says if you've been here more than 5 years, so not the people that came under Joe Biden's disastrous administration, but the people who have been in this country more than 5 years, 10, 15, 20 years, whose children and grandchildren may in fact be American citizens, they would qualify if they have not committed a crime. They pay back taxes, they pay a fine, they have a job, and they do not collect government benefits. They would qualify for a legal status, not citizenship.
So
if I rob a bank and I'm successful in robbing the bank and nobody catches me for 10, 20 years, have I still not robbed the bank? There's certain crimes that have statute of limitations that expire. If you haven't been caught, they're not going to come after you. But they're going to come after you for like 20, 25 years if you rob a bank. They're going to come after you for 20 or 25 years if you do something untoward to a woman. They're going to come after you forever if you murder somebody. But now what you're saying is if somebody crossed the border illegally and they've been hiding and they've been still paying their taxes, we should just look the other way. No, they all got to go.
What he mentioned, but here's some of the facts with the Dignity Act. Where do you stand with it, Stephen?
Well, you know that this administration opposes amnesty. President Trump has always been clear in his opposition to amnesty, and I, of course, you know my own views. But I want to reframe this whole conversation, Brian, if I could, to something that President Trump has been very focused on for a long time. And that's about having the kind of immigration to this country that makes us stronger, not weaker. I think this conversation gets siloed too often when we have to look at the whole picture. You know, you saw the recent tragic case where an illegal alien from Haiti bludgeoned a woman to death in broad daylight with a hammer, smashing her skull in, one hammer blow after another.
By the way, if you haven't seen that video, don't go searching for it. I already told Robin, if you come across X and you see something about a Haiti guy in Fort Myers, Florida, don't watch. I've seen some really horrendous stuff in my life, and I could not believe what I was seeing in that video. The woman came out of the guy was breaking windows in the parking lot. I'm not going to tell you the graphic stuff. He was breaking windows in the parking lot. I guess from inside the store, she could hear him breaking windows outside the parking lot. She comes out and says, stop. And the guy, instead of like beating on the car with the hammer, sees a much more easy subject to target. And he turned his attention and absolutely in the most horrendous way possible kills this woman. I mean, if you watch the video, if you saw it, you're like, did another human just do what I just watched? Is that possible that somebody would do that? And then he just walks away, doesn't even run. And then we find out he's an illegal. Not one Democrat said anything. Most people didn't even want to share the video. They didn't want to even talk about it. And then they caught him. And I was like, don't even bother having a trial. You're in Florida. You're in Fort Myers. Come across Alligator Alley and just let him go take a pee in the swamp, okay? Let him just wander out there and just say something happened. Let the giant alligators just rip him limb from limb, save the taxpayer money, because he doesn't deserve to live.
That's what happens when you have open borders to this country from some of the most dangerous parts of the world. That's one person that Biden let in, the Democrats let in, to maim and murder our citizens, but there are thousands more. When you have open migration, as we've had, Brian, largely, it was very bad under Biden, but largely for 5 decades before President Trump, we had open migration from the most dangerous places in the world. How do your schools work? How do your hospitals work? How does your economy work? How do you have a society that can win all these great civilizational struggles against our adversaries around the world if you have to feed, house, clothe, educate, support, give affirmative action to millions and millions of people from failed states around the world? So President Trump has said, we want to have high-value migration into this country, not low-value migration. And we have to deal with the fact that we have millions of people here who are on welfare, who are not contributing, who commit a lot of crime, who consume a lot of public resources, and it's in the best interest of this country for those people to be humanely returned home. That's the big conversation. Gotcha. And so this old Washington conversation about amnesty is missing the whole point. The real conversation is, how do we have an immigration policy that makes America stronger and more unified, not weaker and more divided?
So, in other words, they got to go back. That's pretty much what he's saying. He's trying to be nice about it, but it ain't going to work. I don't want no Dignity Act. I cannot believe one of the congresswomen here in Florida was one of the people proposing this stuff. No, period. No. If you're here illegally, I don't care if you're the nicest person ever, you know what you need to do. You need to get out and apply, and maybe those things that you've been doing that they described, well, you've been here for 20 years, you've been paying your taxes, that will get you some brownie points. Come in through the front door, write your paperwork out, tell us about yourself. Well, I've been living in California for 25 years. I raised my kids there, but when on President Trump's deportation status, I decided to leave and come through the front door. I would have to probably take my hat off to you. That makes sense. But just because you were here and because you were undetected for so long doesn't mean you get to stay. Sorry. Not sorry anymore.
Let's move to fraud. You guys were all over this, and you're very aggressive on it. And when it was brought up in California, the AG came out and said Trump is deranged. When we talked about fraud, he has no relationship with reality. He also said that you're politicizing an issue that doesn't exist. That same AG is finding hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud after you guys started unearthing it. Listen to this, Kat. Listen to this change of thought.
California DOJ has been going after healthcare fraud since 1979. For decades. Trump is late to the party.
Dr. Oz closed 200 hospices in one friggin' week. What have you been doing since 1979? If we're late to the party, this party really sucked for a long time. This party had non-alcoholic beer in its kegs. It wasn't any good. You were playing disco. The party sucks that we were late to. Now we got a new party coming in. And they're in there kicking butt. They're getting rid of all these people. 200 hospices in 1 week, Dr. Oz shut down.
Is he late to the party, Stephen Miller?
So, as President Trump has said, and this is completely true, But for fraud, we could balance the federal budget. In other words, if the only people who receive benefits were those who lawfully qualified, were actually eligible, and actually needed them, we would balance the federal budget.
Now, see, that's a little foreshadowing. I don't know what's going to happen between now and the midterms, but that is where I think President Trump wants to get to. It's something that's being spoke, so it's maybe being spoken into existence. I'm showing you all this fraud. Everybody has said, what happened with Doge? What happened with what Nick Shirley came out with? What happened with what Dr. Oz? Maybe there's so much where they're just trying to show you, you see how much they've taken from you? You worried about gas? Wait till I shove off and just slice off $200 billion gazillion dollars off of our budget because they've been stealing it for all this time. I still think there's a number of moves left to be made on the chessboard financially.
President Trump was relentlessly attacked by the corrupt government of California, by the corrupt government of Minnesota, by the corrupt Democrats in Washington for exposing the plague of fraud that is taking place in this country. Now you have a face-saving effort by the government of California to try to pretend that they care about this issue. Here's the fact for you, Brian. We have been trying for 15 months to get the rolls of Medicaid recipients and food stamp recipients in California simply to scrub off the illegal aliens and non-citizens who are getting benefits. And for 15 months, we're in court over this. We're being sued by California over this. For 15 months, the governor and the corrupt leaders of that state have refused to provide the federal government that is paying these benefits with the names of the recipients so we can simply remove illegal aliens and non-citizens from the welfare rolls that American taxpayers are funding. Now,
there's a news story. That's a huge news story. We just want to verify these people to make sure that the people actually getting the benefits, your money, are people who deserve the benefits, your money. And if they don't match up, then we no longer have to or should have to be paying this money to people who shouldn't be getting your money. Seems like a no-brainer. You won't find that on any newscast. Hey, should we be really cutting back on the fraud and pulling that money back? That seems like a pretty big story. It seems like if we could balance the budget or cut the deficit, then we wouldn't have to, rely on so much in taxes from people. Maybe even we can go full Howard Letnick and eliminate income tax. Oh, there's a great idea. Why are you fighting that? Why are the socialists fighting that? Well, it's because they want and they need your money. You see, they don't want to talk about money except taking it. There's no coming back. I bet you the Democrats hate the idea that there's even such a thing as called a tax refund. I bet you they would try to eliminate that as fast as they can. Once we collect, it never comes back. Because it's racist and divisive that some people are getting checks. Well, little Susie and her 14 kids, they're not getting a tax refund. It's not equitable. It's not inclusive. How much did Susie pay in taxes? Oh, that doesn't matter. Oh, no, it matters a lot. Every time you see one of these people talking about taking more money out of your pocket or something about a fair share, if you want to talk fair share, what did Leroy pay? Oh, that's racist. No, I'm asking you, what did Leroy pay? Because obviously it's not fair. If Leroy and 60% of other people don't pay anything, you got a long way to go to get the fair share. A long way to go. It's fair according to your definition, not mine. Probably not yours. It's all a scam. The entire government's a scam.
What you're going to see with President Trump's task force that he put Vice President Vance in charge of is increasing scope of raids, prosecutions, enforcement actions, and convictions. The month right now that we're in is going to be the beginning of this large ramp up. In the near weeks, you're going to see more and more enforcement, more and more results, and you're going to see more and more delivery of justice for the American people who've been robbed blind.
Yeah, and an AG trying to save his face and maybe his political career, hundreds of millions of dollars. It gets into the billions, and California possibly is the worst offender. Stephen Miller, thanks so much.
California, billions and billions, Brian.
Absolutely.
Billions.
So the message I wanted you to hear there is what he said. Over the next couple weeks, I don't know if they sent him out to put up the warning or whatever, but the next couple weeks, we're about to see some stuff happen. I mean, he almost went as far as saying arrest. So that very well could be what's on the horizon as well. So we shall see in that regard. In any event, the Democrats are not going to want to talk about this. The media is not going to want to talk about this. There is, right now on X, I'm not sure if you know it, but there is so much going on in terms of creators and type of content they want and everything else. And it's really simple. Tell the frickin' truth. Like the guy accused me of gaslighting. I'm probably not going to hear from him anymore because you can't lie about refunds. You can't lie about a smaller tax bill. It's right there in front of people's faces. You can't lie about fraud. And so what you're saying is, and what a lot of people in the media are saying, is that they don't want you to know the truth. And telling the truth drives them absolutely bat poop crazy. And by doing that, it causes problems. President Trump, excuse me, SV just sent me this. He put this out 5 minutes ago. So let's take a look at it. For the people that still read the failing New York Times, and despite the fact that Iran has been totally obliterated militarily and otherwise, you would think that Iran is actually winning, or at the very least doing quite well, but that's not true. And New York Times knows that. It's fake news. When does a corrupt media outlet apologize for their lies and horrible actions against me, my supporters, and our country itself? Have they no shame? Have they no sense of decency? I'm going to answer that for you, Mr. President. No. See, that's the problem. They have no sense of decency. They have one objective, and that is to destroy America, to make sure that they somehow get back in power in October. And if they do that, what they're going to do to this country and to you and me will be make this country unrecognizable. They will open the border as fast as they can. And all these media outlets are just covering for that. They know what they want to do. They're not being shy. You guys know how to fight back. I try to give you as much information as possible to fight back, but you got to do it. You got to really kick some butt out there because it's going to be a absolutely brutal 7 or 8 months. And he's trying, excuse me, he's trying to let you know it's fake. It's all a lie. Everything you're seeing, just about everything you're seeing in the media is a lie. They actually had Hillary Clinton on Morning Joe this morning talking about how she actually said, I couldn't believe I heard these words. I looked over at Robin and I'm like, oh, don't get mad at me. I'm just playing it. She actually said Bill Clinton having sex with Monica Lewinsky wasn't that bad in the Oval Office with cigars. He's a married man. Lord help us. These people have no decency whatsoever, Mr. President. So to answer your last question, have they no sense of decency? None. They don't. Oh, it's on right now.
The P5+1, the original members of the Security Council plus Germany. But it was a real negotiation. So I worry that the United States is now in a very weak position vis-a-vis Iran.
I think that decision by President Trump to tear up a diplomatic deal will go down in history as one of the worst decisions in the foreign policy space ever made by an American president. If you make diplomacy impossible, you tend to make war inevitable.
Oh, that's so catchy. Oh, you idiots. But they actually had Hillary on Morning Joe this morning talking about why would you even interview Hillary Clinton at this point? What does Hillary Clinton have to offer Americans? In the midst of a war, she's talking about a military operation. Meanwhile, everybody must have forgotten what she did with Benghazi. That they let those people die on purpose. And she's saying Iran's the worst thing ever. My gosh, you let these people get dragged through the streets. President Trump flew helicopters and planes and created an airstrip and saved 2 pilots and 1 pilot on the side of a mountain. No, President Trump, they do not have any decency. No, Fanfare family, they don't have any decency. I can tell you, I have never trolled any other YouTube stream. More than likely, none of you have ever trolled another YouTube stream. That's not how we roll. We don't need to do that. We don't need to spread fake stuff. The reality is right in our face. We can compare the contrast between Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and today. That woman right there, we don't have to lie. She walked into the White House and told everybody she got $11,000 back. You can't lie about that. And so that's why they change the questions and try to move about the picture, the meme, and you made the Pope mad. I don't give a shit about a Pope. I want you all to open your bank account tomorrow or next day or next week and go, wow, that's pretty awesome. Because that is reality, not the crap they try to shove down your throat. I see that J.D. Vance is going to be on a special report with Brett Baer tonight, so I'll tape that and have that tomorrow. But I hope you guys can see this stuff for what it is and how we're being attacked and how they're going to continue to attack because they're into their midterm strategy at this point to take us apart. It's awful at this point. All right, so let me do super chats and yes, Fikowski, I got a bunch of hats out this weekend. Let me go here. Where is that? And then we'll check the finances before we get out of here. As a Catholic, I'm not happy with what happened yesterday for either side. I pray since this midterm will be global playground, you can say it's World War III. Yikes. Pekovsky, I can't understand what your meme is, but I see hats. Okay, yeah, it's coming. Barry, how is it teaching the preschoolers? I'm not sure what you mean. All the media is fading background noise for my family. Yeah. Oh, it's teaching the preschoolers? What part? Not sure what you meant. Oh, yep, got that. Nikki, God didn't give us the millimeter miracle just for the Dems to return to power. The walls of Jericho will fall. Keep praying and mountains will move. Agreed. Since Bukowski, since 1953 on MAGA. You know, it's something that who is it? MAGA. That people were saying that Trump doesn't control MAGA and MAGA this and MAGA that. It's a label, but it describes our feeling as patriots. And I don't think, he's the head of it right now, but we got to keep it going. Lele, thank you. Tanea, seeing Trump with that lady, oh my God, is so cool. Yeah, tangible, real, right there in your face. That woman, she didn't expect to be there, and again, the other side is she works for the gig economy. She's out there driving DoorDash, bringing groceries and food to people, making money, picked up $200 in tips or whatever. Fantastic. And lastly, Ken Romolino. I do 1 hour live auction streams on Whatnot and talk about Trump every day, and it boosts my sales. MAGA is alive and well. You go. That is awesome. Absolutely awesome. I try to find your niche. And I think that's something we should probably be talking about. Find your way that you can succeed in this economy instead of being a spectator, because he's doing it so people can actually participate instead of just watching. One more came in. Let me see who this is. This is from No Dems Allowed. She says, Seniors that collect only Social Security disability less than $1,000 a month are exempt from paying taxes. They don't get a tax return. They don't get squat. Maybe Trump could send a stimulus to ages 65 and up. I'm 65 and up. What you said is perfect. What instead of just, waiting for the $1,000 a month, find a way to make more. And then you're not going to have to worry about waiting for somebody to give it to you, the government to give it to you. Find a way to increase your income. Plenty of ways. Robin and I went away this weekend down to Miami. We have a lady who dog sits for us. She gets to come to our house. She stays there. She sleeps there. The dogs love her. We don't have to put them in a kennel. And I'm not sure her age. I think Robin says she's about our age. And we paid her good money for one night just to stay there, watch TV and eat and make sure the dogs are happy. There are so many different things you could do. I mean, the problem is they don't teach people. I ran into somebody on Twitter today who bought a secondhand parking lot painting device. I don't even know what they're called. And he bought it for $2,200. Had to get his pickup truck outfitted with the handle so he could, take it to jobs. And he's like, I've been doing this for 3 or 4 weeks and I got $9,000 booked this week. Think about that. He went from, hey, I got an idea. I want to paint the striping inside of parking lots. And I'm going to pay $2,000 for this machine. And I'm going to sit in the back of it and ride and paint the parking lots spaces. And he's got $9,000 booked this week. I would have never thought it. It's everywhere. Everywhere people are prospering. If I could find that right now, I would show it to you. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Parking lot painter. If I can find it, because I didn't believe it until I saw it. See if it comes up. See another person here from April 9th. Oh, here it is. Got it. Bingo. Here it is. Check this out. You guys are gonna love this. Last year I bought a used Graco 3400 for $2,300. This week I am striping 2 apartment complexes for $8,400. Hard to believe. Let's have a week. And there you can see him sitting in a little buggy there, and all he's doing is painting the lines. He's walking it. Okay, he's behind walking it. That machine, a $2,300 investment last year, and he's pulling in $9,000 this week. I saw another one here. Let me see if I can see this one. Jared Harden. I'm going to make more money in the next 2 days painting parking lots than I made in a month working my corporate job. Plus, instead of sitting behind a computer, I'm out in the sun, getting a ton of steps in, making my community nice. I find that to be pretty cool. Going to make more money in his 2 jobs, and the 2 jobs he's got this week than he used to make in a month at his corporate job. I just saying. It's out there. Grab it if you want to, but don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. So instead of worrying about how you're going to pay an extra $2 a gallon in gas, you should be worried about how am I going to make an extra $10,000 next month. That different in perspective will set you free. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Network.